I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Stephanie, and I thought I was cool in high school, but I'm even more lame now. And that is why we are not pink.
I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Stephanie, and today we are going to be talking about things that we do now that if our 16-year-old self knew we did these things, they would be embarrassed. We would be embarrassed. Same person. So, to further explain, like, if your 16-year-old self walked in on you right now, doing whatever you're doing while you're listening to this podcast, I know you're pooping, Lucy. Whatever you're doing right now, what would your 16-year-old self think of it? Would they be embarrassed? Would they be proud? Would they be ashamed? Would they give you some nooks? What would they do? First of all, we want to talk about, let's get the hard shit out of the way.
Yeah.
What do you do now that your 16-year-old self would be abso-fucking-lutely embarrassed?
Well, one that probably the biggest one for Stephanie and I, we've actually made an entire fucking podcast all about it, is Magic the Gathering.
Yep. Because I know my 16-year-old self definitely knew people who liked Magic the Gathering. And I did, like, kind of like I said in our other podcast, like, stick my nose up to it. Like, that's fucking nerdy. Like, yeah. I'm not going to be doing that. Like, you do what?
Lamos.
No. I mean, I was the same way with, like, World of Warcraft and a bunch of stuff that I'm into now. So, yeah. But Magic the Gathering is, like, the thing I'm most into. So I agree with what you said. And then kind of to go along with Magic and the whole same circle, like, all the same kids come to mind is Dungeons and Dragons. Because I have played Dungeons and Dragons a few times. And my 16-year-old self would definitely be embarrassed about how much I liked it and how much I want to get better at it and how much more I want to play.
God,
and it's not
Stephanie,
just
so embarrassing.
It's not just Dungeons and Dragons. It's fucking like role-playing games. Like I played like All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is like a zombie role-playing game. That's the same concept, like with the dice rolling and stuff. And just the fact that I know that like my 16-year-old self is shooting herself right now to prevent this moment from happening where I say this on a recording. Because I do know, and I hate saying made fun of because I don't think I was a bully. Like, hopefully I wasn't a bully. But I remember, like, this guy that I thought was so hot in high school. I thought he was lame because he, like, was in the school newspaper about playing Dungeons and Dragons. And now I play that shit. So, Magic and D&D, definitely my 16-year-old self would shit her pants.
Yeah. No, to go along with the whole nerdiness thing, I know my 16-year-old self would absolutely hate the fact that I'm into superheroes right now. And not like how it's cool to be into superheroes and like I'm gonna go
Batman.
I'm gonna buy one of the like Captain America t-shirts that they sell at Target. Yeah. Not sponsored by Target.
We're not sponsored by Target.
But like the stereotypical superheroes that are in right now because they're making movies. Like like
they're box office movies right now.
No, I'm into like hardcore fucking superheroes, comic books, all the whole 9 yards.
Like Dark Horse superheroes. Yeah.
I fucking love Dark Horse.
Did you ever read I don't care. We're not sponsored, but The Umbrella Academy by Gerard Way and Gabriel Ball. Oh. See, 16-year-old me, I don't know, because 16-year-old me wouldn't have been into that, but 18-year-old me would have been, so I guess that's the progression.
Yeah.
Because 16-year-old me was not into comics or anime or anything, so that stuff alone, but superheroes definitely, that's a good one, too.
Yeah, and just kind of cinema in general, my taste in movies and television shows and like that has become much nerdier. I fucking love Joss Whedon. He is my idol. I love pretty much everything that he does. I have yet to see a Joss Whedon anything that I haven't absolutely loved. And I even kind of kick myself for being so against nerdy things like that when I was in high school, because I missed my chance to be able to actually watch things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer while it was still going on, and Firefly while it's still going on. I missed that chance to be able to see it in its actual moment. Yeah. Now I just have to reminisce and what happened before.
Like, you will never know the way people felt when Firefly got canceled because you went into it when it was actively running. You know, it's funny that you mentioned, like, TV shows and stuff like that. Because when I was little, like, when I was going to bed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on, I would watch it. But I wasn't, like, super into any certain TV shows, like, where I had to watch them like crazy.
Yeah.
I know when Survivor first came out, I got really into that, but that kind of fizzled out quickly. But now, I'm, like, addicted to TV. Like, I call it, like, TV fetishes. Like, there are so many shows that I feel like are my lifeblood. And I know that, like, a lot of people our age and lots of age groups are like that now. Like, with clearly shows that have been huge, like Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead and all that. And
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, and I'm not into every single show that's out there, clearly. But the ones that I'm into, I'm super into. Like, there are some shows that I just cannot wait till they come out. Like, have to, like, see it, you know. Like, Game of Thrones is definitely, I think like 90% of the fucking world is like that with Game of Thrones. Where we live, we're rewatching that shit right now. Like, that, we could have a billion podcasts about that show in itself. And, you know, I think that, you know, along with being addicted to TV, I've always kind of not been into, when I was younger, because I grew up with, you know, my family, no one in my family was into Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or anything Game of Thrones like, or anything like that. And so I had to find that stuff later in life. So that's why I'm into it later in life. But just all that kind of stuff. And that's what a lot of the TV shows I like are. Like you said, like Game of Thrones. Or like a lot of the British TV shows I watch that it's like, you know, I've been into those nature documentaries lately. It's like,
I love watching
if 16-year-old me came in on myself on a Friday night just watching a nature documentary with my cat, that would be very upsetting to her. But it's very pleasing to me.
Yeah. Speaking of pleasing, I think definitely something that my 16-year-old
fetishes. I did say the word fetish too.
But just the fact that, I don't know, I guess it's kind of weird. When I was 16, you know, that's when your hormones are starting to really bud up and stuff, and you're looking for a boyfriend and stuff, but you're 16, you're young, so you feel like, oh, it's okay to kind of like mix and match boyfriends and kind of experiment a little bit and see what I like. But when I'm 23, that's old. That's like starting to settle down time. So that's when I should be, you know, at least married or engaged or something like that. And I'm neither one or even in a relationship, and I'm 23. I know that my 16-year-old self would be embarrassed that I'm fucking 23 and still single. It's like, what are you doing with your life? You need to find yourself a man.
I can see, I guess for me, like, you know this about me, I don't know, I kind of have always been, like, unsure about the whole marriage and kids thing, because of some, like, fucked up mommy problems.
Kids. I don't want to have fucking kids.
No, I know you don't want to have kids. I'm just saying,
I've never wanted to have
the whole shebang, that whole meet a dude and do all that shit, I've always been iffy on it. But I never ever, like, put a date, like, a year on it, so that's something I can't relate to, but I don't have that problem of being single at 23, so I don't know. Like, maybe if I was single right now and we made this podcast, I would feel differently about it, but I'm not single, so that's not a problem I have. Sorry, Lizzie. If you're single and in Kansas City...
I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, so...
At Lizzie with
you
an
have your
axe.
things. Are you trying to fucking pimp me out right now?
If you listen to this and you're in Kansas City, we can arrange some things. One thing that I think I'd be really embarrassed about is when I was 16, I had lots of friends. Like, think about all the people I was friends with in school that, like, I saw in class and...
Well, you and I had those similar friends.
Saw, like in school and after school.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, you know, I've talked to like 60 people a day and like text 60 people a day and like really care about all these people. And now I can't remember their names to save my life. And like I'll even see people whose like last names have changed because they got married, and I like cannot remember their last names in high school.
Yeah.
Like I just can't place them. And that's kind of sad. I guess it's not even embarrassing, it's sad. Because it's like I forgot about everybody. Like, you know, funny, fun-loving Stephanie that loved everybody fucking hates everyone and forgot about you all.
Well, I think that just has to do with the fact that, like, when you're 16...
Except for Lucy, I know you're pooping.
When you're 16, you feel like the friends that you have then are going to be lifelong friends. But it's because you're fucking 16.
Yeah. And then 90% of them fuck you over, so things change.
You think that that's the most important time in your life because that's like the peak of what you've done with your life. Ever, like, before you're 16, what great accomplishments do you do? Fucking quit pooping your pants. So you're living the dream at 16.
Yeah. Well, and I think being at home too, you have to socialize and be out of the house constantly. So you can't, like, you and I only hang out like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
But when you're 16, you have to be out of the house constantly. So if you have a really good friend that you only see twice a week, you need someone else to hang out with the other 5 days so that you're not sitting at home getting bitched at by your parents all the time. You know, and when you get older, especially when you get your own place, you want to be alone in your own place all the time because you just want to binge out on Netflix or eat a whole thing of ice cream or never put pants on or masturbate and try to break your own masturbation record all day. Like, you think of other things to do when your parents aren't around. And then to go on top of that, when you have friends over, you don't have to go somewhere to hang out. Your friends can just hang out at your house. Where when you're 16, especially if you can drive,
hang out at your
you
house.
don't want to sit at your parents in the living room watching TV with your parents all night. But when you're 23, you want to go sit at your friend's house and chill, do some chilling, and watch some TV at their house, you know. Force your friends to watch nature documentaries with you. Just saying.
Yeah. Speaking of friends.
Speaking of friends.
We asked some of the friends that we have now.
Yeah, some of our current friends.
What their 16-year-old self would be embarrassed about them now. So I think Stephanie's got a few.
And I won't mention anyone's age specifically, but there's quite a variation of ages here. All adults. Like, the youngest person is us, the 23-year-olds. So, but they got some pretty good answers. One of the first answers I got, and one of the cutest answers I got, was from my friend Trisha, who said that something she does now that her 16-year-old self would be embarrassed about is dancing in the kitchen alone.
I love that because I know my 16-year-old self would be embarrassed about something similar that I do, which is I sing to my dogs. And it's not like adorable singing. It's like obnoxious, like really cheesy, corny songs that I find some clever way to switch a word that's in the original song and switch it to one of my dog's names.
I used to do shit like that with my cats all the time. I'd be like, I love you, Bubby, you're the fluffiest kitty in the world. You're the fluffiest kitty. And I would just, like, make it up as I go. And he would just, like, close his eyes and purr and wag his tail. And I thought he liked it, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. That's funny. I definitely do a lot of dancing, though. Like, that's one thing when I was little that I would get embarrassed about a lot, too, though, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think my 16-year-old self would be embarrassed, but they wouldn't be surprised. Let's just put it that way. The next friend that replied, actually Lucy replied a couple of days ago, probably while she was pooping. Seems to be a thing she does. That's the main going joke in this podcast. You should follow us all on Twitter and get in on the action. But Lucy said she would be embarrassed about not spending hours teasing her scene kid hair and not doing her scene kid makeup. Quote, my 16-year-old self would be so appalled, unquote. Because that's how it was. You teased your hair. Yeah. You had to straighten your hair every day. teased it. Like half a bottle of hairspray.
Like perfect black, thick eyeliner
after
around
making
your
your
eyes.
face porcelain pale.
Yeah.
Perfect black eyeliner. But I do know most kids were just doing eyeliner. There wasn't a lot of eyeshadow blending or stuff. So I guess teen kids had it easy. So because nowadays girls have to like do all the highlighting and the contouring and then do their eyeliner and then do like 3 different colors of eyeshadow and then do their eyebrows and do their mascara, and I was not doing that shit in high school.
Yeah, but I mean, we can walk out in public as adults with wearing no makeup whatsoever.
True.
And be perfectly fine with it. I go to the bar by myself all the time wearing fucking some like ratty old t-shirt, like guy t-shirt that I have and jeans, wearing no makeup just because I want a fucking beer, so I'm gonna go get me a beer. And I don't give a shit. Where I couldn't even go to the grocery store with my mom if I didn't have straight hair and eyeliner on. I'd be too embarrassed. Like, what if somebody sees me and I have my curly hair and no makeup on? Yeah,
well, one thing I always did is when I was 16, I was working in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And I had to wear a hairnet at work. You know, it was a hospital cafeteria, so after work I'd have to go there and put on a hairnet.
Yeah.
And even on, like, days when I didn't have school before, I would get up and straighten my hair just to go put it in a hairnet. Because I didn't want, when I walked in and my hair was down, I didn't want anyone to see me with my hair curly. Like, it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to be a thing. And now I, like, rarely do anything with my hair. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I maybe straighten my bangs. My next weirdo friend that said something was Justine. She's a new friend, so just saying, I don't know if I can trust her, but she probably won't even listen to this because she never does. But I'll tell her she's a big feature.
Justine, Justine, get on yourself.
Justine gave me some fucking brilliant answers. But when I tell you her answers, you'll understand why she probably doesn't listen to our podcast. She said one thing she would be embarrassed about is that she got a, quote, shit degree. And essentially, she's not using it at a job because we work at doggy daycare together. So we didn't go to college for that. But she went to college for something, she's not using it. I can definitely see how that would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
For sure. She said she's embarrassed about being 24, almost 25. She still blushes whenever people talk about sex. Ding, 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 ding. That's why I just listen to this.
I was the same, because we are the complete opposite. We were even like that in high school. Like, completely fine with talking about sexual stuff together. And even still today, like...
It's like, okay, you know how we went to that comedy show a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
And when that dude made that joke... that first joke that really offended someone and someone got up and walked out. He was like, bye. That would happen to us in school. Like, at the lunch table, people would be like, you guys are fucking sick. I can't sit next to you. Like, people would get pissed, especially at me. Like, sorry, you don't get comedy. Deuces to ya. Not that you don't get comedy, Justine. But it's okay. We're not going to judge you. Like, you're just listening to your friend, your pal. Talk about some nasty shit. Get over it. Love you. Justine also said her brilliant answers are not over, though. See, she's this whole episode. I'm just going to call it Justine.
Justine and Lucy.
That she's a giant wuss. You know, when you're 16, you're like, I'm a badass.
I'm 16.
I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do that. This is how I'm interpreting her answer. I can do anything I want. And then when you're 23, you're like, I probably can't do that. You're like, I'm fucking scared to do that, actually, because I know I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know? It's hilarious. I think that's why a lot of people don't like driving downtown and stuff like that. Like, when you're 16, you're like, fuck Liberty. I'm driving downtown Kansas City. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do whatever I want. You're like, I don't care where I'm going to park. I don't care if I get a ticket. And then when you're 23, you're like, what's the parking like? Like, before you even go anywhere. I don't know what else she's a giant wuss about, but that's what she said. And then, this is the funniest one Justine said. This is the golden line of the show. Well, maybe not, because we got more.
Yeah, I got some funny ones, too.
Justine said she would be embarrassed that she farts on her boyfriend on purpose just to piss him off. Sorry if you're listening to this, buddy. I'm sorry. Sorry it's gotten to that level.
I would be embarrassed of that too, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I don't do that. Like, I definitely fart around Brett because we live together. I don't know about anyone else, but in the morning, I just fart like crazy. Before I even wake up, I can't help it. So things happen, and that level got crossed on accident when I was asleep or something. I think Brett farted first, though. I remember that. I'm just saying.
Well, it's like I'm completely comfortable with farting in front of friends, and like whenever I was dating somebody, I was fine with farting in front of them. But actually farting on somebody,
that nasty.
That's the line.
Nasty.
Yeah, that's the line.
My dad, I feel like my dad and my brother always farted on me growing up, so I don't want dude to fart on me, please. Okay, so my last and final friend response from my friend Kristen. Simple and sweet, short answer. The shortest answer I've got on this list. Kristen's 16-year-old self would be most embarrassed about the fact that she has given a guy a foot job. Just in case Justine is not listening, I'm not going to explain what that is. Lizzie, it's your turn.
Say, and if you're listening and don't know what that is, Google it.
Google it. Unless you're not 18, you shouldn't be listening to this and you shouldn't Google foot job.
Yeah, I got some pretty clever answers from my friends too. Hey guys, I love you. I'm going to tell your embarrassing facts to the world. My friend Liz, who she's a hardcore Catholic girl. I mean, she's not hardcore, but she's Catholic, but she's also still pretty cool.
She's a softcore Catholic.
Yeah, softcore Catholic. There we go. I like that. But yeah, she did like the stereotypical like Catholic girl stuff. She went to Catholic girls school and like did all of those goody two shoe things. And she says that probably the most embarrassing thing that her 16-year-old self would be appalled at is the fact that she became a liberal. Which is, I love that because it's totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
16-year-old you doesn't know shit about politics.
Yeah. But you just assume that, like, either A, you're like, I believe in this, like, political party because that's exactly what I grew up as, and that's what my parents are, so that's what I have to be, so I'm going to be that. Or you're like the flip-flop of, my parents grew up like this, so I'm going to be the exact opposite. I'm going to rebel. Mm-hmm. And then once you actually get older, then you kind of, and actually start reading into politics, then you...
It always switches. Yeah, that's true.
That's when you kind of develop, like, your actual political beliefs, and you actually figure out what's...
Because I'm kind of the opposite, you know. I kind of went from being really liberal to being more conservative. But that's also because I worked in healthcare for so long. Yeah. So. I don't know if you guys have heard, but healthcare is quite a political issue these days, so... Yeah,
I mean, I'd say that mine kind of stayed the same, but now I actually understand. Mm-hmm. Like, I always was like, yeah, I'm against Republicans, blah, 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 when I was in 16. But now that
you didn't know, like, the factual reasons why.
Now I actually have, like, evidence, like, my personal, like, I did my research, I looked at the pros and cons, and now I'm kind of in the middle area. But my next friend, she said that she's into Miley Cyrus. This is my friend Katie, and she's like she's somebody like us. So she would be embarrassed at the fact that she listens to people like Miley Cyrus. Which, I mean, I definitely...
Rightfully so.
Yeah. That is embarrassing.
You shouldn't be embarrassed, Katie.
But, I mean, I understand where she's coming from, because when you're 16, you're like, I listen to this stuff because
you're so much more stubborn about it.
Yeah, like I won't listen to things that are on the top 40s radio because that's too cool. I'm not into that stuff. But then when you actually get older, you kind of you grow up.
You're like, I'm gonna like whatever the fuck I like. Like, get over it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten more into rap music since I've become an adult. Not like hardcore rap, but I can actually willingly admit to people it's like I listen to this rap artist and I'm not ashamed of it. Where my 16-year-old self wouldn't even dream of listening to anything.
Like, I like anything but rap and country.
Yeah. And there's country songs that are kind of catchy and I enjoy listening to now, so don't shake your head at me, Stephanie.
I don't know about that. Yeah. I don't know about that life right there, but I know for me, one of the like most quote unquote embarrassing things to listen to now is like I listen to a lot of like indie pop. And yeah, some of it's getting popular now, but when I started listening to it, it was all indie, so fuck you. But anyway, I was thinking that's something my 16-year-old self would be embarrassed about because people make me feel embarrassed about because everyone else in my life hates it. Yeah. Like Abby was making fun of my music today. Brett always makes fun of my indie pop music. Hates it. But then I was thinking about how when I was 16, I was doing that then too, where I was like, you need to listen to this cool pop lady chick. And it wasn't ever people that were on the radio. It was like people I found on MySpace or something. Yeah. So I've always done that. Yeah. But Miley Cyrus, that's kind of like an unforgivable crime.
Sorry, Katie. Stephanie still loves you.
And Lucy's on your side, don't worry.
Yeah. But to get into the more, like, sexual things that my friends sent me, my friend Kat, she said that her 16-year-old self would be embarrassed that her adult self isn't more freaky in the bedroom with sex and stuff. Because, and I completely agree with that whenever she said that. I was like, yeah, I see that. Because when you're 16, that's when you're first starting to kind of get into the whole, like, sex thing. That's when you're starting to have, like, an intimate boyfriend, not just, like, the boy that walks you from your locker to your classroom and then gives you a hug because that's all you know how to do is hug. Like, that's when you start having sex. You start, like, kind of exploring the opposite sex bodies. So you don't really, but you don't really know what to do.
And everything you do is newish. Yeah. Like, the first time you do something for the first time, it's so exciting. So you're like, I'm going to be doing stuff for the first time forever. And because I don't know, maybe I'm fucked up. But I was like, okay, maybe by I'm 20, I will have, like, tried this. Yeah. And maybe by the time I'm 30, I'll have tried this. And so I, like, set those, like, kinky goals for myself. Yeah. And some of them have been met, but...
But when you're an adult and you have a significant other, you're just like, hey...
You're like, I can come in 5 minutes? This is awesome. Yeah. We don't need that other shit. Yeah.
It's like, let's have a quick bang and then go grab some dinner or something. Yeah. Like...
Go to sleep. Yeah. Like,
you don't have
to
take
a shower. Yeah. Go finish off the rest of our day. You know, we don't have to make a 2-hour tie down ordeal about it.
Night of just sex.
I can see that though. Like the concept. Yeah, as 16-year-old self and my 16-year-old self. Like, you're not just having freaky ass sex for hours on end. No. Because that's not real life.
What? You have a boyfriend and you don't have sex with them 24 hours a day? But you don't live with your parents. I will say, I thought that when I moved out of my parents' house and I lived by myself, I would just do nothing but have sex. Because when you live with your parents and you have sex, you have to wait till they're home. Like, they're not
It's
home.
always weird. Yeah. It's just always weird.
And you have to wait till it's like a really long time that they're not going to be home. And then you have to make sure that your significant other can, like, make it to your house. Or you can make it to their house when their parents are gone. And it never works out. So you just have sex, like, once in a blue moon. So then... But you're like, oh, when I live by myself, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to have a bed just for sex. And it's the complete opposite. You have to beg people to have sex with you. Well, maybe not that far, but it's not as...
Being an adult sucks. You have to beg people to have sex with.
Please have sex with me.
Yeah, we're not like dudes at all. Like, that's not a dude thing to have sex. What is your next fucking friend say? Let's just move on.
Alright.
Justine's definitely not listening anymore.
My next
I feel like
friend.
we're talking about a bunch of imaginary people. Everyone, please comment on this video to verify that you're a real person and we're not making you up. Please. Please.
But to continue with my last one, my friend Lizzie, not me. I have another friend named Lizzie. And her and I, we have this ongoing joke about how we're both named Lizzie. But she...
Yeah,
She
that's
said-
a
yeah.
joke. That's funny.
She said that she would be embarrassed that she lets her boyfriend have sex with her while she's on her period. Which...
That's because society raises you to think that's gross.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Sorry,
Not
Lizzie.
necessary. Well, it's different. I wish I could ask Lizzie more questions because, Lizzie, A, are you like on oral contraceptives where your period's like really light and it's not a big deal? Or is it like getting all over the both of you in the bed and the smell and what the... There's a difference. Not all period sex is equal. So depending on what type of period sex you're having, you should be embarrassed. If you're just spotting and it's not a big deal, don't be embarrassed. But if you're
But I know people that are
painting
really...
that
yeah.
dude red, then there's a problem.
But I know people... Well, I don't know a lot of girls, but I know a lot of guys who are really fucking into that. And I just think it's weird.
That's true. I mean, we've had that conversation too.
Yeah.
I've had dudes... I don't even want to talk. Beg to do things during that time of the month that they should not be want to do.
Yeah, and I'm like,
not
no.
that they should not want to do. Get my words out.
But, I mean, we have been talking a lot about things that we'd be embarrassed about, but we're not... We know that our 16-year-old selves wouldn't just want to, like, off themselves just to not be who we are today. There are a few things that kind of make up for the really embarrassing things. That's like, no, it's okay because I do
Because
these
of
things.
these, like...
So I'm actually really cool. So.
Yeah. I might not straighten my hair every day, but...
But you got this. You're
got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's true. I feel like overall, from day to day, at this age and this day and time and the way everything's are, I'm really happy. I'm really proud. Like, you know, I have a roof over my head that's not my parents' house. I have a car that my parents did not pay for.
Yeah.
You know, I have a job. I'm paying bills.
Yeah.
I have a boyfriend. Like, things are going well for me. And then I think, as a 23-year-old, not college. I didn't do that shit. But high school, it's confusing because every month you're a different person. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the one year you're really into this band and this clothing style and this whole scene, and then the next year you're into a totally different scene. Like, anyone who's been in high school for more than a day knows that shit happens.
Yeah.
But when you're finally getting into your adulthood and settling your roots down, you like get your self-worth, and it like really helps your self-esteem.
Yeah, no.
So that's something to definitely be proud of as an adult.
Yeah, I feel like my self-esteem has gone way up, and it kind of has to do with the fact that, like, when we were talking about, like, makeup and stuff, I had so much anxiety about going out in public without wearing makeup, but now I don't care because I'm too, like, I don't feel like I need to do that to look pretty. I find myself pretty, like, the inner beauty, and I'm okay with who I am.
Or
and
you just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that too.
I know, like, in my adult life, I've went on a lot of dates without makeup because I'm like, whatever. Mm-hmm. I dare this dude to fall in love with me with no makeup on. I would love that shit. Never ever have to wear that again. Like, that was great. So, yeah. And I think, too, in your adulthood, I think a big part of getting your self-worth and your self-esteem, like, really established and raising your self-esteem is you're, like, more adapted to your own flaws. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not like, oh, I'm so stupid and I'm the worst person ever because of this one silly thing I do. You're like, I love that thing. Like us embracing our nerdiness. Like, we've always been nerds. It's just
now we're actually, we can accept the fact that we're nerds. Yeah, and I mean, to go along with how we don't hang out with people from high school anymore, but in our adult life, we've established new friends outside of high school that, like, I mean, we're not full-grown adults right now, but the friends that I have now, I feel like will actually be lifelong friends. Yeah. But in, like, an actual adult mind thinking, because in high school, those people you hang out with every day, but as adults, the friends that I have now, I don't hang out with every day. I see once a month or, like, maybe even every other month, or even longer than that if they live out of town. Yeah. But when we hang out, it's like we never left.
Yeah.
So there's no awkwardness where when we see people that we went to high school with now, it's always super awkward and you don't know what to say because it's like, Yeah. I'm done a lot of growing up since I hung out with you, and if you're anything like how you were in high school, I don't want to hang out with you, so this is awkward.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, I totally think that with friends, it's definitely quality over quantity. Yes. Like, I might not text 20 people in a day. I might not text 2 people in a day. Yeah. But the people I do talk to, like, actually mean a lot to me, and that's why I still talk to them, so... Mm-hmm. You know, you kind of got to get over that you don't talk to everyone you used to know, because at least you talk to the people you do now, and hopefully it means something. But speaking of quantity, I am pretty proud of the number of guys I've dated, because in high school I had, like, -3 interaction with guys. Like, the few interactions I had with guys, like, didn't even count as dating. They were all dudes that were like, I don't want to date you, bitch, but we can hook up, so they don't even count. Like, I had terrible luck in high school. But then, like, between 18 and now, I've gotten to do a lot more dating. And then, of course, now, hopefully those of you who've listened know that I have a long-term boyfriend that I live with. And 16-year-old me would never believe that I did that. She wouldn't be embarrassed. She would be surprised. And therefore, she would be pretty proud. Yeah. Because I just didn't have good... You know... In high school, you always have your friends who are always in relationships. Like, you know those people who, when they break up with someone, they're like, I'm boo-hoo single, and then in 2 days, they scoop someone else up. Everyone knows people like that in high school. So if you're the opposite and, like, not dating anyone, and the few guys you kind of date, that's not really dating, so you can't really tell anyone, and it's all weird, not a good time. So I'm really proud that things have changed. I hope, hopefully forever for me with the things have ended up now. But part of that is the number of guys I've gotten to date in my adulthood, because it was 0 in high school, and then it's, you know, the numbers changed quite a bit.
Positive number.
Yeah, speaking of positive number.
Yeah, I mean, I've had boyfriends, but I also had boyfriends when I was 16, so that's not really a big difference. Oh, but when you're 16, pretty much the only people you're having sex with, even if you even are having sex at the age of 16, are just the people you're dating and have been dating for a little while. Like, you're not hooking up with somebody that night. I mean, I guess some 16-year-olds are, but those are the ones that are... When they become our age, they got like 6 kids already.
Yeah. And like you said, when you live with your parents, it's hard to have sex. You have to find somewhere to have sex.
Yeah. Whereas now, as an adult, I feel like my 16-year-old self would be proud of the amount of like sex partners that I've had. Not in like I've had a lot, like a shit ton of sex. I'm a whore, but I'm not like lonely, and I'm not. Like, I'm going out, I'm meeting people, and I'm having that sexual interaction, and for the most part, all of the guys I am doing that with are pretty fucking hot. If you're listening to this and you've had sex with me, hey, you're pretty fucking hot, and I know that my 16-year-old self would also be like, yeah, that dude's pretty fucking hot. So props to you, Lizzie. You go have that hot sex. Yeah. No, like, I feel like the guys I'm having sex with right now are the guys that I had hardcore crushes on when I was 16, but too chicken shit to go talk to them.
Exactly, yeah.
Which kind of also has to do with self-esteem. It's like, now I'm not afraid to be like,
I realize the power of the poon.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you're hot, I want to fuck you, so you're going to fuck me.
They're like, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Can't believe I just looked over at my boyfriend and I'm like, oh, it's a terrible thing for me to say, but I said that, so. Comedy.
Hey.
So yeah, I'm glad your sex life is banging. I mean, mine kind of got banging, but I don't know if my 16-year-old self would be so proud of it. Probably mine would be too. Because I think I've had sex with some hot dudes too. I lost my virginity to an ugly dude, and I said never again.
No more ugly dudes.
Some slip-ups happen, but
I mean, yeah, I've had my few slip-ups here and there, but I've learned. Yeah, I've learned from my mistakes.
And also, more important than sex, I've had some good cats. More important than your pussies, the pussies I've had that were cats.
I was gonna say, not the sexual pussy, the actual cat.
Well, because I know, like, 16-year-old me had, like, obsessions with cats already, and I grew up not really having cats because my dad was allergic. And when I had my own apartment, I had my 2 cats and tragic loss. No, that makes it sound worse. That's not what happened. They didn't die. I just had to move in with my grandma, which fucking sucked. That's a whole nother thing. I guess there's me mentioning that. Yeah, I had to move in with my grandma when I was 22, and I had to get rid of my cats. But now that things are going much better, and I live with my lovely boyfriend, Brett, he has 2 cats. So I have 2 awesome kitties in my life still. And so I'm really happy. 16-year-old me would be fucking stoked that I have cats, because I was obsessed with cats and didn't have them at home. So
you were so obsessed with cats, you had a kitty folder.
It was called Kitty Folder. Like, the name of it was Kitty Folder.
And you fucking loved that folder.
I think I would, like, leave it places all the time, too, and I'd be like, oh, Kitty Folder, I have to go back. And I'd have to, like, run all the way back down the stairs and go get my fucking Kitty Folder. Got afraid. Yeah, and my first cat I ever got looked just like the cat on that folder.
Yeah.
Because the folder, it was just a generic, folder for school from Walmart. And the cat on it was a calico cat hanging up in a tree. And that's the kind of cat I got, was a calico cat.
And it was even a calico cat that looked like Kitty
looked just like the Kitty Folder cat. That's why I got her, because I actually got her when I still lived with my dad and could not have a cat. But I got her, and I just kind of stashed her at my mom's apartment.
Yeah.
So...
yeah,
that's what I did after high school.
Yeah.
Start getting cats.
Well, what I did after high school that I think my 16-year-old self would be very proud of is that, I mean, I went to college for something that, like, other people didn't quite agree with me going to college for theater. But, like, so many people, whenever I was a senior in high school, were like, really? That's what you're going to major in? What are you going to do with that?
Even people in theater are like, you're going to school for theater? It's like, I just worked with you for years on productions, and you don't...
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people I got that vibe off a lot of people. Yeah. I didn't go to school for that shit, but...
But I feel like my 16-year-old self would be like, yes, I'm glad that in the future... I go to school for something that I want and not what I think other people want me to do. And then just like my career goals that I've made after graduating from college, which is to become a film in lighting in film as well as lighting for fucking live concerts. That's so badass. I know my 16-year-old self would be like, that's what I want to do with my life. Yes, I am pumped. Like,
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of you.
It's like, man, my future
if I'm
self
jealous,
is
you should be proud.
Like, I get to work with moving lights and pyrotechnics and all kinds of cool shit and audio equipment. I fucking love it. So I know my 16-year-old self would definitely be like, yes, I turn into a badass. Not the badass that I am now, but an actual, like, smart, intelligent badass.
Yeah. See, I didn't go to school for anything badass or, like, kind of really at all, but, like how I keep dodging. I did some college, okay? I did the community college thing. That's where it ended. Because I wanted to pay rent. And, I worked in healthcare, like I said, since 16. From 16 to 23, I worked in healthcare, and I just, in the last couple of months, got out of it. And so if my 16-year-old self really was, like, evaluating my life now, I think that they'd be really proud that I got the fuck out of healthcare. Because when I was 16 is when I started working there, and I never saw it as a long-term job. I really liked work. The cafeteria was for me. Healthcare, not for me.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I started in the cafeteria, and I kept transferring to other areas of the hospital and moving up. But then you get to that stale point where you're not going to move up any further. You're just going to keep getting fucked over. So you dip out, and I'm glad I dipped out. So
yeah. I'm glad you are too, because you were getting real miserable for a while.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, it kills my personality isn't meant for that environment, and that environment just kills my personality. So it's just bad all around. So
no, I've noticed that you seem like a lot of a happier person nowadays. Now that you're out of that and you get to hang out with puppies.
Yeah,
all day
hang
long.
out with dogs.
I'm
and
jealous
cool
that
people all
I'm jealous
day,
you get to hang out with puppies all day long. Because you know me, I'm a dog lover. So
yeah, 16-year-old me would be like, you work with dogs and you can still pay your rent? Sweet. Yeah. And part of that, again, is because I do have a boyfriend. If I didn't have a boyfriend, I don't know that on what I make now. You know, obviously, it's no secret I made more in healthcare than I do at a doggy place, but money's not what's important. So 16-year-old me, like I said, would be really proud of that decision I made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think definitely something that I think both you and I could definitely agree on is, I mean, although a lot of high school friendships didn't stick, I'm really glad that, like, you and I's friendship did stay.
Yeah, it did remain solid. It blossomed into something awesome.
Yeah. Well, because, like we've said, like, how the friends that we have now, you don't have to talk to every day to maintain a friendship with them. Whenever I was going to school and you were working, the few times I was able to come into Kansas City for a weekend or something like that, and the rare occasion that it wasn't for something family oriented, that I had to just do family stuff that weekend, the weekends I was able to hang out with friends like you, we'd hang out, and it was like we never fucking left each other. We could hang out and do like 20 minutes of catching up, and then the rest is just fuckery.
Yeah,
like just
back to the good old days.
Yeah, shenanigans.
Well, and that's just like ever since you moved back into town, we went right back into hanging out, like kind of as much as possible almost. So, and obviously I'm glad we're friends because of the things we're doing together now. You know, what's crazy is that we have common interests, especially things like magic that we weren't interested in high school. We both have somehow. We didn't get into magic together.
No.
I don't know if we mentioned that in the episode. We got into magic at like kind of at the exact same time in two separate places with separate people.
Living 2 hours away from each other.
We didn't do that shit together.
Not talking.
So it's crazy that we still have like so many similar interests, and then obviously that we're doing this podcast because, I mean, I never, when I started hanging out with you in middle school, never thought we'd be making a podcast together in our early 20s.
Talking about pooping and magic.
And when I started thinking of this podcast, I never thought that it was going to be done with you. Like, I'm not saying I never would have done it with you, but that's not what the original plan was.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned in the very first episode that when we first met, you were fucking embarrassed of me.
Yeah.
15-year-old self would be embarrassed that you still hung out with me.
But I'm glad we're friends. I'm glad we're doing this podcast. I'm glad maybe some people are listening. And seriously,
hey, the few people
guys,
that do listen
means so much to us. So much. I mean,
we love you all.
A lot of you were name dropped in this episode. Really appreciate your feedback. If you're not like a personal friend we have and you're listening to this, hopefully you're following us on Twitter at Not Pink Podcast. It's below if you're watching this on YouTube, so I'm sure most people do, it's below there. It's right there. It's easy. Get on Twitter, follow us, and tweet us. We want to hear from you. We don't just want you to follow us. We want you to tweet us our feedback. Follow the Not Pink. Follow me, Stephanie. I'm at Pizza Butt Stuff is my Twitter handle.
Can't
Lizzie,
miss it.
You can't miss it. Pizza Butt Stuff is my Twitter handle. All one word. Yeah. But we really do want to hear from you. So, Lizzie, you add Lizzie too.
Yeah, Lizzie with an X. So, just think of Lizzie
with
Borden,
an X. And it's Lizzy. Again, you're probably listening to this on YouTube, so I'm sure it's in big letters right in front of you, the word Lizzie. So you should know how to spell it. But we want to hear from you. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but we've been asking for your all stories for our episodes. So we want that, and we want your feedback about our episodes and all that kind of shit. So please, please, please follow us. Please send us your feedback.
And also, if you guys are listening to this and your idea, like you have ideas kind of sparking in your head, tell us ideas that you want us to do podcasts about, because we will gladly take feedback from anybody for new ideas. Because I mean, more than
we've
two
gotten
heads.
Some nice comments. Like we've got some nice comments on our YouTube videos from people that aren't friends that really mean a lot. So it's on a very small scale, but we appreciate you, and tell your friends, get more people to generate. Like look at us, we're awesome. But until then,